What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica, and this is your Real Housewives of New Jersey review. All right, so it's going to be real quick, right? There wasn't a lot. It was a good episode, though. It was a good episode, very well rounded, very complete. Um, Margaret is announcing that she's going to do her book reading on the yacht of the person who helped, or I guess, ghostwrite or helped her write her book was the same person that helped Teresa write her book. And so they're gonna get ready for this yacht party. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know that you stopped by, okay? And then Teresa is talking to Gia. She comes in there and she's having this conversation with Gia, and she's talking about her dad and how her dad showed her the woman that he's dating or his girlfriend or whatever. And she was like, well, what does she look, trying to play it off. I'm sure it's very awkward. It was very awkward. But Gia and Melania were like, y'all need to just date. Like, what's the big deal? You're dating, he's dating, there's no big deal. So Melania comes in. Melania and Joe, they like this. That's his baby. When I tell you Melania is Joe Giudice's baby, that's his baby, okay? So she was on the phone with her dad. She walked in to Gia's room, and she was like, "Oh, I heard that Gia, you showed Gia your girlfriend and this and that." And he was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, I think they said something about your boyfriend or whatever. So it's just a little awkward, but I love the fact that Gia and Melania were like, you guys are divorced. It's a no big deal. Nobody expecting you to stay single forever. No, you know, and that's just what it is. So that was a cute scene with them. Oh, look at the little doggy. So cute. All right, and then Jennifer and her daughter have a really good talk. I loved the conversation between Jennifer and her daughter. She went into her daughter's room asking her about school, what's going on with school. She was like, she's on a break. So Jennifer sits on her bed. I loved that conversation. It was so good. It seemed very authentic. It flowed very well. But they talked about the grandma, and she was like, I just wanted to check in with you because I know you were there when grandma and grandpa were having their issues or whatever, and I just wanted to check in with you. And the daughter understood. She was like, well, do you know what happened to grandma or whatever, to Nana, I think they call her Nana, I don't know what they call her. Well, she explained that she was 16, and she was like, 16? Like, she was like, I would be mad at my husband too. Like, you're taking me from my family. I'm pregnant now. You're taking me from my family. The way that Jennifer described it was that her mother, in her home that she was raised in, she was kind of like I don't know if she was the oldest, but she was always taking care of everything, cooking and doing all that stuff. And she thought that by marrying this man, she was going to get out of doing that. Now, if you're 10 years younger and a teenager married to a grown ass, almost 30-year-old man, guess what you going to be doing, bride? You going to be a mule and you going to be a mattress. Trust and believe me. Ain't going to be no rest, bitch. You going to be working. And that's not even funny, but that's the real shit. You're 16 years old, a teenager, a child bride, marrying a man almost 30, you are going to be a mule. Mm-hmm. And you are going to be a mattress. Okay? Much like some of the girls that are older, but you guarantee if you was a teenager, that is what's going to happen. So her mother thought that that was what was going to happen, and it wasn't. It was a controlling, male centered, coming from a patriarchal, societal structure in Turkey. Everything is about the man, and that was tradition. And the way that she had the conversation with the daughter understood, and she was like, I could see why she was mad. And that's what I don't understand, but Jennifer was raised in that. So she's also, her lens is very much, let's see how is this hurting the man, because I've also been trained in a culture where I have to put the man's needs before my own. So how did my dad suffer? I know my mother was a child bride, but let me figure out how my dad also suffered from this, so that I can also take his feelings into account, because we're giving too much attention to the woman, and really in our culture the women don't mean that much unless they could lay down or unload a dryer. You can lay down or do the laundry. It's not funny. But she was like, that basically explains why she's so angry. And the daughter, who is 13, understood. Understood. I love that conversation. It was a really good conversation. And I think it's so important to tell your children how their grandmother is or was, or their story, especially if they have been kind of trained to not talk about things that bother them and to just hold it in and be resentful and be angry and be bitter and to just carry that with you. I think it's important to tell the children who are watching this behavior, this is why your grandmother or this is why your grandfather is like this. This is what happened to them. So that there's an understanding, and this girl doesn't grow up to think that her grandmother is just this tyrant. Because that's what I'm thinking, like, you just this mean old lady, right? I didn't know until this these episodes that she was 16. When you say that, I'm like, oh, she got first of all, she has a right to be pissed off. I get it. I might be behind her and be like, yeah, what she said. Because at 16, girl, please. And I'm glad that the daughter understood. So they go to the book party, to the yacht party. Teresa talks about her new boyfriend, and she feels more comfortable because they mentioned something about going to this castle, I guess. I don't know, probably a mansion or something where they do magic tricks like the Magic Castle in Hollywood. Probably something like that, I imagine. But anyways, she starts talking about this guy. They went on a walk, and she met the guy, and she's very open. So everybody's like, okay, so now she's more confident in telling us what's going on with this guy. Melissa is still holding on. Like, Melissa knows more about him. She's met him and everything like that. Melissa is being a good sister-in-law and sticking to, I don't know nothing about him. I don't know nothing. So she's doing that well. Margaret is reading excerpts from the book, and she reads the specific excerpt about her being by a man using his power over her in the workplace, and her eventually sleeping with him, and her feeling why she had to do that, right? So she's reading the excerpt from the book. When she's done reading the excerpt, Jennifer says, Jennifer starts to apologize, and she was like, you didn't read it like that. The way that you told us the story made it seem a little different, but now that you read it, it does make me see it differently. Margaret takes offense. Like, Margaret, I don't know what it is with her and Jennifer. I think we need to get down to what the problem is. I think she's pretty much annoyed with anything that Jennifer does because she took offense to it, and she was like, well, maybe you don't understand. Maybe you don't comprehend. And I'm like, girl, she was about to apologize to your dumb ass. Like, shut up, Margaret. You just ready to go at Jennifer whenever. And Jennifer was like, girl, if you don't like it, you can fucking change the channel. And I'm with her. Like, bitch, if you don't like me and what I present, and take me as I am, as long as I'm not harming myself or anybody else, and you don't take me as I am, you got a problem with me, bitch, change the motherfucking channel. Period. And I'm with Jennifer on that, bitch. I was about to apologize to you, but you interrupted me. You interrupted me. I'm gonna try. And so she was like, I'm trying to apologize, bitch. So she apologized to her, and she was like, well, let's just move forward. Let's just move forward. Yes, Margaret, let's move forward, because you getting on my damn nerves with your hard on that you have for Jennifer. Okay? They had the reunion the other day. The outfits, no. The only one that looked good to me was, I gotta look at the pictures again, because I'm not gonna say it, because my first off bat was Dolores. Dolores always looks good to me. I don't know why. I think Dolores is fly as hell. But anyways, so we get down. Oh, Dolores tells her son. Did I get to that part? Oh yeah, she did. She told her son that she was going to have a biopsy on something they found in her breast. And so her son is so handsome. He was like, you got to tell me these things or whatever. He gives her a hug and this and that. He seems very concerned, and he was hugging her real tight. That's her baby. Jen says, you know what? When I'm back to her and Margaret. Jen says, you know, I'm going through a lot. I'm going through a lot. And Jen explains everything that's happening between her parents, and all of the women are empathetic. They're like, oh my God, this and that. So Jen says, you know what? I want to have something for my mom to make her feel good about herself. I think it's a great idea. And I want you guys to all invite your mothers as well. But unfortunately, you know, Teresa's mother has passed away. And so I was wondering myself how Teresa was going to do it. That was really hard to watch. You know, Teresa gets on my nerves, but you know, somebody lost their parent, and now you're around all of these women and their mothers, and they're talking about memories, and she's remembering her mom. So it was very difficult for her, but she's gonna go. She's gonna go. And then Melissa and Jackie go have lunch, right? So they're sitting down having lunch, and I guess Joe texted Melissa, and Jackie was like, is everything okay? And she was like, yeah. So we're going to probably get into Joe and Melissa's issues. A lot of people think that Melissa and Joe's issues are staged and they're fake. What do you guys think about that? Because I don't think that they are. I think that they're just having a rough patch, which people have in their marriages. I think we're used to seeing them all lovey-dovey, cuddle, super affectionate. And we're seeing them kind of bicker more, right? So I don't think it's fake. I don't know. I don't think that Joe Gore could be that great of an. I don't know. I don't think it's fake. I would hope that it's not. Like, it's like, why would you call that energy into your marriage? Like, I don't get. That's weird to me that you would even do that, even if it is, especially for money. Like, why would you do that? Because I don't know. Anyway, so Melissa is sharing how they're just going through their rough patch, and Jackie, she makes some good points. I don't understand, you know, when we first get into marriage, we do make these promises, but like 16 years, 10 years, nobody's going to be in the kitchen forever, my nigga. Like, nobody's doing that. The kids are older. They're growing up. They're getting out of the house. Now I need to focus. As the kids become more independent, I can focus on the things that I want to do. And also, you're not going to be so much of the focus, because taking care of the husband really is a byproduct of taking care of the kids. The only reason why food is being made is because of some kids. When the kids leave, we eating out. We eating out. We ain't nobody gonna be in the kitchen all the time. And she says, and then you grow resentful for that. And it's true. And then, so Jackie wants to know about Teresa's new man, and Melissa is not saying anything about it, not saying nothing about it. So she was like, don't get me to say anything. She was like, you know, you got to tell me and Margaret everything. She was like, girl, I'm not telling you nothing. I don't know nothing. Stop asking me. That's another thing. Just stop asking me. So that was a cute little moment between Jackie and Melissa. Oh yeah, because Melissa couldn't go to the yacht party. Yeah, she wasn't there. That's right. It wasn't really a yacht party. It was just them having food on the yacht and stuff like that. And it was cute. I really love New Jersey Housewives, because it's like, it's enough conflict where the conflict is not taken from episode to episode to episode. We're not still talking about the same shit every episode. We're not carrying one, you know, mystery clue that we got to figure out by the end of the season. It's none of that Scooby-Doo shit. None of that shit on here. It's like, we have our conflict. We go back and forth. Like the conflict between Jennifer and Margaret. They have constant conflict, but they are not arguing about the same thing. It's the same theme that Jennifer talks too much and doesn't know when to shut up. That's what Margaret has a problem with, and how she kind of flaunts her wealth, right? Margaret has a problem with that. But it's not one topic that they're discussing every single time they're arguing. Does that make sense? So that's why it's like, okay, it's regular conflict. Like, girl, we arguing. Girl, if you don't like me, change the channel. But then we're like, okay, girl, let's fucking stop arguing, because this shit is dumb. We're not getting anywhere. It's not making our relationship better. It's really non-productive conflict. It's like, there's productive conflict where we can identify an issue where we don't agree, and we come together and we can agree to disagree, or we can figure out where our common ground is. But to be arguing over the same thing over and over, like Kenya and Portia, if they come back next season, Portia comes back next season, you're out of the cards to play. So blame Kenya. It's out. It's over with. You understand what I'm saying? So we're not going to keep talking about something for years and seasons over and over. Let that shit die. Let it be over. And that's the reason why I love New Jersey, is because it is just a full, complete package. Right? We get to see the women and their families. We get to see the women with their husbands. We get to see the women with each other. We get to see their personal story on how they're through this chapter of their life. Then we could, like, we see what's going on how the girls are trying to figure out who Teresa is fucking, right? And her sister-in-law knows, but she's not saying anything because Teresa don't want nobody to know. So that's kind of like a theme until Teresa feels comfortable, and now she's talking about it. It's cute. It's so cute to me. It's so cute to me. Anyways, so Margaret and Marge Senior sit down and have a conversation. Now, I listen to Marge Senior all the time, but this was the first time that I actually heard her accent. Like, she's Hungarian, right? So I was really listening. I was like, she has an accent, because it's kind of mixed in with that New Jersey accent. Like that real, like the way that Margaret talks, baby, it's not as bad as Margaret. Lexi, baby, Lexi. Every time Lexi talks, I'll be like, who is that talking? Shout out to Lexi. We saw her on, I wonder if Lexi's going to be a friend next season, because she keeps coming around. I know she's very close to Margaret, but she's talking more than normal. But anyways, so this was the first time I actually heard Marge Senior's accent. And she was saying, you know, she read the book and everything like that. And she's like, I feel bad. I feel bad because you said you didn't feel safe around me. And she was like, we didn't have the typical mother-daughter relationship. She was like, there was makeup everywhere, right? Because that's where her mother put value in. That's what she was taught, and that's what she felt like she can get ahead. And she's also says that she was also always working as well. And she was like, and I hate that you went through that with your boss. I didn't know that. She was like, well, I couldn't tell you anything, you know. Oh, we forgot about Antonia. Did we get to Antonia? Oh no, that's next. Antonia was like, stop. It was so cute. So they, you know, Marge was like, you know, I just didn't trust. I didn't trust that her mother was right. She didn't trust that her mother was right. She didn't trust her mother was making a good decision. And she felt like she was the mother. There are a lot of people who growing up felt like they, one, made better decisions than their parent, or watched their parent make bad decisions over and over again and decided they weren't going to be there. That's why Margaret doesn't drink, because her mother is always drunk. So that's one of the reasons. I know that was something that she shared a long time ago, was that's why she doesn't drink, because Marge Senior was always toe up. So they had their good conversation. They were crying, and she was like, do you stop crying? Do you need a tissue? And it was cute. And I want to read Margaret's book. I actually, I'm going to get the Audible, because she's narrating. So bitch, I'm here for it. I'm going to be listening to it. So I have some credits on Audible. I will be ordering Margaret Joseph's book. Melissa and Antonia go to Envy to shop for some school clothes. She bought a couple of outfits. Melissa feels that this is an opportune time to discuss the birds and the bees and to have this conversation. It was so funny because it is awkward, and you don't know, like, okay, how do I approach this? You want the child to be receptive, right? You don't want them to shut you down. So you got to figure out a way how to approach the conversation without, one, embarrassing them, right? Two, I think it's very important when we talk about sex with our children that we remove the shame away from it. And the shame of sex, it allows children, both boys and girls, to set them up, especially girls, to be abused. Because if something happens to them that is out of order, like say for instance, there is that thin line of sexual assault where coercion is a part of that. And what happens to teenage girls, a lot of them get coerced, and that is considered, right? That's considered that, right? So you have to have these conversations with these girls. And if they feel like they're ashamed about what happened to them, the likelihood of them sharing with you what happened to them is very low, because you have now aligned sex and shame together. So now that I've been assaulted, I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have been doing this. Okay, I'm not going to tell anybody. And they're going to sit on that for years and years and years. And then at 21, 25, they're going to be like, that happened to me when I was 16. That happened to me when I was 15. But I didn't talk to my mom because my mom made me, or my parents made me feel ashamed about sex. So I didn't have a conversation with them. So there's a way that you have to approach it. It was very cute. She was embarrassed. Of course, the cameras are there. Hopefully it was a female camera person, because she was changing clothes and this and that. So hopefully that was, and she didn't feel to, because there's another person standing there with a camera. So that there's another added on to that. And now I know my life is being documented, and more than likely this is going to make the show. So please don't embarrass me, Mom, right now. Right? So it was cute the way she tried to have a conversation with her. She was like, I just want you to know to be respectful of your body and make sure you could get pregnant. And she was just trying to have that conversation. Hopefully it kind of like eliminated the kind of the uncomfortableness of it, and that maybe it can open the door for Antonia to come to her mother and know that her mother is aware that she is going through changes, and it's okay to have these feelings, and it's okay to feel this way. And if something ever happens to where you don't know or you are unsure about this, you can come and talk to me, and I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to shame you. I'm not going to make you feel guilty. I'm going to be here to support you. That is the way that I think so many people should approach having the conversation with their children about sex. With me, I'm just, you know how I am. It's a constant conversation. It's very little things. My sons are 12 and 13. However, I'm starting the conversation now. We talk about consent a lot. I talk about that a lot with them. When somebody tells you no. But I've been instilling that in them since they were little boys. When somebody tells you to stop. Whether it's joking, whether you getting close to them or whatever, if they say stop or they look uncomfortable, stop. Period. Right? Because sometimes they may not say stop, right? Because they may have been taught that in order to get this person to like me, I'm going to have to do these things. So their body feels uncomfortable, but they're not saying no. Okay, so those kind of things, if somebody looks uncomfortable, they stop talking, they stop being receptive to you, stop what you're doing, check in with them and find out if they're okay. And I kind of frame it in a way of joking, like when you're joking with friends and you see one of the persons is no longer laughing anymore, maybe they feel like the joke isn't funny, kind of check in with them, because you don't want to be making them feel uncomfortable. They may not say they don't. You understand what I'm saying? I think you guys understand what I'm saying. Anyways, so it was a cute talk. At Jennifer's house, Jennifer has a very nice house. Her mother, I love tabbouleh. I love it so much. I saw it when she was making it look so good. Get that lemon juice in there. Get it all mixed up. I was here for it. You know how we are. A lot of people probably would have been like, girl, put some gloves on. But no, that's not how you do stuff. You just got to make it with that's where the soul comes into the food. Anyways, so they had a really nice party. They were having, mom conversation. Jennifer's mother had her hair. She had her hair flat iron, honey. She had her makeup on. She looked nice. All the women, they were having a conversation. And you saw her mom and dad kind of have like a little banter back and forth. That wasn't like angry, because he was telling her to don't have your belly out, and she was like, I have my belly out. That's what somehow I have my belly out. She was saying something that was cute. Anyways, so I thought it was a cute episode. Teresa was there. Everybody was there. Dolores' mother, Dolores was like, my mom wants to see your house. And so they were all sitting in there having a traditional Turkish tea and having all of this stuff laid out. And Jennifer shared with us that her mother is really good and takes pride in her spreads. So she really felt like this would help her, feel comfortable and be, celebrated. And so Teresa was having a hard time. And I thought it was great that Teresa actually was able to identify that she was not going to be able to to sit through this whole thing because it made her think of her mom. And she was like, I gotta go. I've had anxiety. I didn't sleep that much, and all of this conversation is really making me think of my mom. And so they comforted her and they told her it was gonna be okay, and they saw her off and she left. And that was really hard to watch because I imagine that she would definitely have had her mom there. So I felt bad for Teresa in that moment. But overall, we're gonna see next week. It's gonna be to be continued. They're gonna finish that. And it was funny because they were having the conversation, like because Melissa was sharing, I had the conversation, the sex talk with my daughter. And then they were like, oh my God, Jennifer's mom. It's so funny because in these kind of situations, these traditional male identified, dynamics, is like, it's even like taboo to talk about sex. It's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like the very thing, the very reason why you're here, we place shame on those things. Like how could you place shame on creation? How could you place shame on that? And we have to get away from that, because they were like, oh, don't say anything. And her mother was like, I'm fine. Like, y'all can talk about sex around me. I'm fine. Like, how the fuck y'all all thought y'all got here? Fucking. Somebody was fucking. Anyways, take care of each other. Protect your energy. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Peace.